I've sectioned the hair right at the apex of the back of the head. And now with my straight blade, I'm going to razor this out. So when you're razor cutting, we'll get nice and tight, Austin. You got to get that blade moving before you get there. And I'm just going to melt that hair away with my straight edge blade. So the most important thing to watch when I'm doing this technique is really the lock and the load, how we hold and how we move the razor. You'll notice that when I'm using the razor, the finger that locks the razor down is my pointer finger, and that's really the key, because you want to make sure that you have safety first. Straight edge razor work is excellent. It gives you the full connectivity to the blade. But, you know, we teach it with a guarded razor. We have guards that slide onto these razors. The reason being, we like safety first. So I'm working from the inside out. I'm over-directing the hair back. You should be able to see the guide. It just falls away. So when you razor cut, you kind of feel it, and you see it at the same time. We say razor cutting's like sketching. And if you want to learn razor cutting, this type of style, these are classes that I teach. I teach them in person, I teach them on the road, and I also teach them online. And all of our information is always on arrojopro.com. So this is called open razor cutting. So what we're doing with open razor cutting is, when I say about open razor cutting, it means that the blade is moving a lot. Throughout this demonstration, you're going to see the blade. So that's a lot of motion. You're going to see the blade perform different functions. Right now we're doing an open stroke, and that is going to remove length and add texture all at the same time. I'm using the side plane of the blade just to really melt that hair away. And this really is more like a square layer through the back, to be fair. It's really more like a square layer through the back. We are going to nip the bottom in a little bit shorter shortly. Let's move on to the opposite side. So we're always going to comb the hair inwards. So we comb the hair into the center as we layer out the back of the hair. Razor in from the top down. So real nice, clean, tight tension. Just move that blade through the hair. And this is a very popular haircut. It's kind of a mid-length haircut, not too short. But certainly, has a lot of movement and has a lot of feel, and is very popular and has been very popular. Because for a shorter haircut, it's a very sexy haircut. It's very playful, and that's what we're trying to do here, is create a lot of texture in the hair. So these sections, I'm going to draw the sections for you, but we have another doll head. I'm going to draw them out for you so you'll see. But these sections really are vertical sections, and as I get to the back of the ear, they tend to just angle just a little. I'm going to feel, this is how we look. If we look from above, you're going to see that we're looking at the density of the hair right here. And you pull these, I call these my grabbers. We grab and we feel, and we see, and we can see all of that texture all the way through here. Let's continue on that journey as I work to the back of the opposite ear. So these sections are being combed straight back, and I'm using the side of the blade to literally melt that hair away. Once this is done, this is going to be our first panel that we've completed, and then I'm going to have a look at I'm going to look at the nape line. I'm going to see what we've got down here. So we've finished that. Just going to check one more time. Yeah, it feels good. Now I'm going to literally sit this in a little bit tighter. So I'm going to lift up my mannequin so I can get just a little bit tighter in on the nape. So we'll just slowly lift her up. There you go. Spin around to you. All right, so now let's take this section. We're going to split it down the center. Add a little bit of moisture. You don't want to razor the hair when the hair's dry, but you don't want to razor the hair when the hair's too wet. The reality is, if the hair's too wet, you don't see what the razor wants to do. So we're just going to take a nice clean section right here. And I'm going to bring this line up. I'm going to kind of collapse it into the back. So as I start, this is not as open. If you look, you'll see the blade is not moving as much. Whatever you've got in your fingers is what you've left on the head. So it's a mirror image. So you see right now, I'm not trying to put a little bit less texture, still a little bit of texture, but a little bit less texture into the shape so I can get a little bit more structure to the shape. And that's the first section cut. And there's the second. Just working on the side. I'm working on the right side, and in a second I'll move over to the left side. Mannequins are great for learning. They're definitely not as good as real people, but they're great for learning. And if you can get it to look great on a mannequin, then on a real person, it's going to look spectacular. So right here, working from the inside out, to the back of each ear. Just melting that hair away. And there's the texture. That's the amount of texture. So not as much as when I did the layering through the back. Keep it nice and tight. You're going to hold nice tight tension. Nice tight tension so that the blade just melts that hair away. So we've layered the back square from just above the apex of the head. We've layered the back square, and now we've collapsed it into the back. So now let's take the next panel down. I'm going to rotate my mannequin to the side. I'm going to take my section. I always tell everybody the same thing. You got to take really clean, definite sections, critical to your success. So right now I'm going to go from just the crown to the back of the ear. So keep that section nice and clean. Clip it out of the way. And we'll do exactly the same from above. You'll see from above we'll do exactly the same on the opposite side. So there's your section right there to the back of the ear. You'll also notice, if we come to camera 5, you'll also notice we've kind of set her off to the side, and I've kind of put that side parting in purposely. Okay, now it's time to build a little bit more weight into the shape. Time to build a little bit more weight into the shape. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to change my angle. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from the underneath out. Maybe camera 3 might be good, Austin.
Yes,
yeah, so right now we're working from the underneath up. Clean sections. Camera 5. Combing this hair straight out at 90 degrees. And now I'm working from the underneath up to pushing the length to the top. So that's one of the things that I like about the razor. It's very multifunctional. You can cut in many different ways, from the underneath up or from the top down. It's very ergonomic, and the hair is getting longer to the top. So these sections have a slight diagonal to them. Get that blade moving before you push it into the hair. Okay, and you can see that this is a much more open stroke than what I was doing earlier. So we've kind of started open. Then we did the baseline, was a little bit less open, and now we're continuing to keep it nice and open because you can see all of that texture as we melt the hair away. And this is my razor comb. My razor comb has tight teeth for beautiful tension, which is what you need when you're doing razor cutting. You need high tension. So I've got this beautiful tension, and then it's got the wide teeth, which helps me when I want to kind of comb the hair around a little and let the hair live a little. So the wide teeth kind of gives you more freedom, more fluidity. So you'll see these sections are diagonal, working from the outside into the center. And I'm just literally passing the center. So as I pass the center, that's just going to be perfect. And this will be my last section. So if you go from above, you're going to see my last section right here. We're just going to pull this straight out and come from the underneath, and then I'll rinse and repeat. And once I've finished the whole of this back, I am then going to show you the sectioning pattern. I'm going to draw it out for you so you can see. So that's one side done. Let's rotate it to this side. I'm a salon hairdresser, so I like to work salon speed. I book on the 45-minute, so that's, for me, gives me the perfect amount of time to perform any type of cut. So
Nick, will it mess you up if I ask you some questions?
No, you can ask me questions if you want.
Awesome. Okay, so we've had some people that whenever we were saying about that we were going to be doing the razor cutting, that mentioned to me like they're very scared of a razor, and why do people sometimes just use a razor instead of shears, and why can't they just do some of these haircuts with shears? Can you answer a little bit more of like your experience of why a razor is great for these?
Well, let's just talk about the difference. Not one's not better than the other. Okay, so when I trained to do haircutting in England, I was trained at Vidal Sassoon, and I worked for them. They only use scissors only at Vidal Sassoon. And when I left Vidal Sassoon in the 90s, hair became very undone, and I felt like that looseness and softness was really well suited to a different type of tool. Because while you can texturize with a scissor, it's not the same. I was teaching a class yesterday. This is how I like to describe it. If I were to give you a pen and a pencil, that's like me giving you a scissor and a razor. The ballpoint pen is only going to write one way because it's got a little nib on it, like a scissor. Yep. If I'm going to give you a pencil, you can use the side of the pencil. It's pressure. You can create more smudginess, more softness. We say that razor cutting is like sculpture, and it's like sketching, and scissor cutting is like architecture. It's like following the lines and building up structure. With a razor, it's a little bit more fluid. While there are lines, there are soft lines that we put through. I would say the best thing to learn is learn first how to cut with a scissor. That's the best way to learn. Cut first with a scissor. Once you've mastered scissor cutting, then you can start to master razor cutting. Yeah, it takes a long time to master. I'm still learning. I've been doing hair for 40 years. This little technique here is called tipping. I'm looking through the hair and creating a little bit more softness. You see, I can pull that hair out. And you're just pushing that hair around. So the razor's not better than a scissor. It's just different. And I always recommend you learn both. Yeah, and I always tell my clients too, it's not the razor that does the work. It's the hairdresser. So if you get a bad razor cut, it wasn't necessarily the razor that was the bad haircut. It may have been, who was using the tool. All right, let's head over to this mannequin right here. Let me show you what we're doing. So let me jump in right here. First step, we put our side parting in right here.
Sephora, the best fragrances are here.
Just at the apex to the back of the ear. So this is how we did. This is where we began. And when we began with sections that just came straight down. And these sections were pulled straight back, and they were cut square. So your sections, and as we came to the back, the sections just angled just a little. So that were your sections, pulling this hair straight back, actually cutting this hair very square through the back. Then the next panel that we took was a panel right here. This is what we just did. We took the panel right here to the back of the ear. And we did the same on this side. And then on this, we came from the outside in. So when I say from the outside in, on this, we did our sections this way. And we cut from the underneath out. So we literally cut out. So this was squared, this was cut out. Now it's time for me to move into the side. I'm always going to move into the side closest to the parting. So I'm going to take my section from here, and I'm going to run it right to there. So I'm going to go from there all the way to the recession right there. And now we'll head back over to our mannequin, and we'll show you what we're doing, because right now, just flick back to the diagram. There you go. So right now what we're going to do, back to me please. What we're going to do right now is not the parting, but I'm going to go from here all the way to the recession, which is right there. You don't want to be above. You want to be below. I'll just clip that out of the way. And now we're going to sit this in like a little bob. So we're going to sit this in like a little bob towards the cheekbone, towards the chin, we'll see where it looks good and where it lands. My sections are now going to be diagonal forward sections. So let's just take that section right out. Let's open the razor again. Just let me show you that, you see. So you open the razor, you place it in, you lock it in, and then this finger here is what we teach when we teach classes. That's to look at where the razor is. It's very safe. It's nowhere near my client. So it's safety first. Now I'm going to come from the top down. So we're working top down, bottom up, kind of moving it around. That's the great thing with the razor. The fantastic thing with the razor is it's a very fluid sculptural tool. So I'm going to work that into the side. And let's just have a look and see. So we're going to be sitting this in just right around here as we take these diagonal sections. Take my next section. Now the crown on the mannequin, the crowns obviously, they're a lot denser than real people. But the nice thing with the razor is you can balance out the density. So right now from above, you're going to see if I comb this out, it's a soft line, but it's right there. You are following a line. I know it's there, I can feel it, and I can see it. And I'm using the flat plane of the blade to melt that hair away. And now we're going to move down towards the front, so it's a very fluid movement as we move towards the front. Let's keep that out of the way. Keep it nice and clean so that we can see. And right here, I'm going to establish my guide length right here. So we'll establish that right there. And let's just sit that in. So there she's starting to sit. Now my sections, I'm going to change them. I'm going to start to work from the bottom up. Taking this section, keep it nice and clean. I always have a great saying, cut hair, not corners. If the section's not clean, reset. Get that razor going before you get there. Place that razor in, and I like to refer to that as the bite of the blade. I get to feel the bite of the blade in the hair. And I'm just softly, just melting that hair away. Look at how many strokes just to melt that hair away. And there's your little, you're starting to see the little feel of that Bixie, which really is kind of bob and pixie mixed together. So that's really why they call it a Bixie. Again, you can see here, when you're looking through the hair, you can see here the density. Give me camera 5. Perfect. You can see right there. You can see how the blend is. Okay, it's nice and soft. So you want consistency. We always say, get that blade moving before you push it into the hair. You want to get that blade moving, push it into the hair. Once the blade's moving, then you can kind of nice and smooth and just flow into the hair with the razor. So there's the movement, and now I'm just slowly pushing that in, and right there. And now we've finished that panel, and you can see how that's starting to sit. I'll lift the head up, and we're going to let that move around. All right, let's do the same on the other side. Yeah, we can do the same on the other side. We're going to do the exact same approach on the other side. This is how I like to break my haircuts down. I slowly like to break them down so that I can kind of work in a very structured fashion. So remember, from here, from above, you'll see right here, and then we're going to bring it all the way to the recession. See if you give me, there you go. Beautiful camera shot, Austin. Thank you. Thank you. Right there. Bringing that in. Let's clean all this up. Let's clean all this up now. We know where the parting is. Just going to clean this up a little. So in the salon, I'm using my razor probably more than my scissor. Yep. I tend to find that the razor it's a faster tool. Yeah, the razor's a good tool because it's fast. You can take texture, you can put length in, you do all kinds of different things with the razor. Starting right from the back again, diagonal forward section. Let's comb this, just check it. I'm just looking through it. When I look through it, I'm looking for density. It feels just a little thick right there, so I'm just going to tip in. Next section, diagonal forward. Combing this hair straight back. And soon I'm going to be pushing that length in. through the sides. So I'm working down towards the jaw. Next section, I'm going to bring it all the way in. This should kind of establish my line that I'm working towards. Clip that out of the way. Here we go. Get that blade moving, just melt that in, and we're going to run that in towards the corner of the mouth. And we're going to check for balance in a few seconds. Think of the razor a little bit like an eraser. Yeah, I said pencil, which is good because the pencil kind of slowly gets dull as you use it, and the razor does the same thing. You kind of feel more in tune with the razor because you're connected to the hair. So think of the razor like a pencil, and I'm using the side of the pencil to make it blurry and smudgy. Then I'm going to get a bit of an edge in. Now let's just kick that and see if we're getting the right shape. Looking good. I'm going to carry on. The sections are going to get a little bit flatter so that we can start to build that weight up. Let's have a little check to the other side. Let's just have a little check to the other side. That's the side we've cut. And this is the side that we're cutting. We don't have a mirror here, so it's a little bit trickier, but we can manage. Just melting that hair away. Working from the top down and trying to get a little bit less texture right at the bottom. And you can see how dense this hair is. Do we have camera 3? How does that look? There you go. Just melt that in. This is my 5-camera studio. This is where we teach our online digital programs. Great for training staff. It's how I teach my own staff, to be honest. I train them like this. It's much more efficient. They get to learn all the lessons. Over directing that hair back, you're going to look for the weight to fall. You're going to look for all of that, and we've almost finished kind of the back, and we've almost finished both sides. And then it's time for us to start focusing on the top. And as the hair starts to dry, you'll start to see the personality of the texture come out. You don't want to razor dry hair, because if you razor dry hair, it just really shatters the cuticle. So you really want to learn how much you can push the razor through the hair. When I went from scissor cutting to razor cutting, my razor cutting was very limited. I would put very little texture into the haircuts. Very, very little texture. But now, many, many years later, I can put a lot of texture in. You just kind of go baby steps to begin so that you get safety first and you create structure. Plus, don't be surprised if I pick up my scissor at the end, because sometimes picking up a scissor to evolve your haircut a little bit further is okay too. It's not like important to be, oh, it's only razor. Scissor can work out too. Both sides have been cut. Let's drop that down. Let's go back to the original parting. So I'm going to push that in. There's the original parting right here. I'm going to drop my mannequin down just a little, just to get in comfort. Whenever I'm working on a mannequin, it's just like working on a client. I make sure she's at the perfect height that the client would be. No point having her up high if your client's never going to be that high. Yep, so I tend to always do it this way. All right, let's jump back, Austin, over here. Let's jump back to my doll head. Let me show you what we just did. So we took our first section like so. We took our second section. Then we took our third section and started to establish the guideline in here, and then finish that through, and finish that through. Now what we're going to do is we're going to connect the top into the sides. So it's going to be diagonal sections again. So we're going to head back over to my doll head, and keep that clean. There's the parting. You'll see that from above, nice and clean. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come from the back of that parting, right here. Come from the back of that parting. And nothing to cut there, so I'm just going to add a little texture. You learn to look through the hair when you cut with a razor. Next section. These are all diagonal forward sections. And again, what I'm doing is I'm working from the underneath up, pushing a little bit more length to the top. Yep. deciding, I mean, she's a doll head, so I can kind of move with the inspiration as this goes. We will kind of create some kind of a bang in the hair. So we're working up from the underneath. Get that blade, just push it in, just let that hair just melt away. Just melts away. Don't
Nick,
overshaft
there was
the
a
hair. You
question.
want consistency. Question.
Okay, so Mallory had asked about what's your opinion on gliding spray or oil cutting sprays?
Well, I have a product called Hydro Mist. Unfortunately, it's not in stock. I do believe that it's nice to work with a little product in the hair, like anything that's going to give the hair just a little bit more condition and a little bit more slip, but I don't believe in cutting lotions. I know that sounds like a bit of an oxymoron. I don't believe in cutting lotions because the client's not going to buy a cutting lotion, so I believe in a spray conditioner. And I tend not to do oil too much, although I do have oils in my product line. I tend to work with more of a spray conditioner, something that's got maybe a little glycerin in there, just to give the hair a little bit of sheen and a little bit of slip. You'll also find that if you find the right product, it can act a little bit as as water, and you can allow the hair to dry just a little bit more. So yeah, I'm into it. But I never tell my client it's a cutting lotion. Never. All right, let's do the opposite side. So now we're going to do exactly the same on the opposite side, only this time we've got a lot more hair to cut because we're over the parting. All right, going to come from the underneath. I'm going to hit the crown. Now the crown on these mannequins are always denser than people in real life. So I'm just going to use the tip of the blade just to soften that out. And I'm good for questions if people have them. I'm real good for questions. I'm going to come from the inside out right now. Feels right. That's the good thing with the razor. It's like sketching. Yeah? So you don't really overthink it. I didn't pre-section everything out. What I actually did was I just started working with panels. And then I analyze and assess which way I'm going to approach that panel. That's the best way to do it. I'm going to do a check now because I think I'm getting a little bit too heavy. If you come above, I think I'm getting a little too heavy on the heavy side. So I'm going to lift that a little bit more. Come back, lift this a little bit more, and I'm going to get in with the tip of my blade just to soften that out. Remember, we want to keep that kind of bob shape, but we want to make it so that it's playful and short. So now working all the way down the hair shaft, scooping this back, and just emptying out that shape a little bit more.
Nick, there was another question about your razor. Do you recommend a razor? You have one, right?
The best razor that is this. I believe the best razor blades are the feather razor blades. They're the straight edge feather razor blades. They come in a small blue box. And this is the box. I'll show it to you. That's the small blue box. People think that the stick razor is called the feather. The stick razor is called, it's made by Feather. Feather's the name of the company. This is an Arrojo razor. This is a handcrafted wood one, but we have a red one, and we also have detachable guards. So you buy this one from the website, you'll get a guard that goes on it. You keep the guard on, and then when you're ready to play with it and take the guard off, that's when you can do it. I think this is the best razor because of the weight and the balance of the razor, and also these blades are the sharpest that I've found. And it's all about sharpness. That's what it's all about making sure you got sharpness. All right, I'm going to come right from the back. I'm going to elevate this up. I'm going to come right from the back, right the way through here. You're looking for your line right here. Remember, that it's a lot denser in real life. It's a lot denser than real life on the crown here. The crown is a lot denser on a mannequin, but again, with that razor, we can loosen it up. You'll also notice I'm allowing the hair to dry off a little bit, so I can see the personality of the texture coming through. And this really is going to come all going to come together when we put the bangs in. That's when this is all going to come together. Just tipping away. And even though I put the parting on that side, on her right, I'm going to be pretty playful with it. That was just a marker. It wasn't necessarily an intention, just a marker. Coming all the way from the back to the front. Really nice open stroke. When I left Vidal Sassoon in the 90s, hair became very undone and loose. And when I say undone and loose, it was kind of like undone hair. It was like wash and wear and very loose. So for me, the razor was a tool that kind of took us away from that geometric technique that I'd been working with at Vidal Sassoon. And then I just started to play with my razor, and it started to get better. Then I came to America, and I worked for a company called Bumble, and they were razor cutting, so I was kind of in my element. Razor cutting there was great. Right, I'm moving over the top. I'm coming from the other side now. Remember I mentioned, just because I had the parting in there doesn't necessarily mean that is going to be my final destination. It doesn't mean that at all. It just meant that that was a marker. And I'm really looking at density. Soon I'm going to be looking at the front of the haircut. And that's really where everything's going to come together.
I have two questions in the chat, if that's okay again. Okay, so one said, when would you recommend someone come back? Obviously, it depends on how they grow, but because you're adding a lot of texture, do you see less texture? Does it make sense?
I think the question was, it was hard
and
to
Maria,
know.
if you want to unmute, you can, Maria.
The question, I think, was, what if they come back in 6 weeks, all the texture's there, is that correct?
Maria, if you want to unmute, you can. Okay, we're gonna we'll get back to that. You can put it in the chat, Maria. The other one
let me talk about what I think
Okay.
that was about. Okay? Whenever a client comes back for another haircut, I'm never trying to think what I did the last time. If you want to make failures, then try to remember what you did the last time. And then your whole energy is going to be thinking about, oh, is this what I did? Is this what I did? Is this what I did? So when the client comes in, I always look at everybody with a fresh pair of eyes. If she comes in, she says, I love my haircut, and I razored it a lot, doesn't mean I'm going to razor it a lot this time, because I don't know what the texture is going to be. I don't know what the outcome's going to be. So it's a fresh pair of eyes. And whenever I tried to mimic what I thought I did, it never came out well. So whatever you're doing, always do it with what I like to refer to as a fresh pair of eyes. Next question.
That's great advice. Okay, and Nancy wanted to know, does it work well on curly hair, the texture you're doing?
If it would work well on?
Curly hair.
No. You'd never razor curly hair like this. It's too much. You don't want to do that to curly hair. Curly hair, you do different types of razor. You do more piecing out with the razor. You don't soften and create all the softness on the ends. So you can razor curly hair, not a problem, you can razor curly hair. But you don't really want to razor curly hair the same way. You do it a different way.
Okay, and the last thing about your razor, I don't see it on your website. If someone on your tech team has that availability, they can put it in the group chat.
I don't know if we can do that right now. Maybe Austin can, but I don't know.
Okay.
But the website's arrojopro.com. Okay, let's see what we're going to do right here. All right, so let's come back to my doll head. I'll show you what we did. So we connected these sides in from the front. So we did that on both sides. Obviously, I don't, so this is kind of the side map, and it's exactly the same on the other side. The only difference, the parting's over here. Now, I'm not going to draw everything because I want to keep some of the head clear so that you can see. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a bang section like this. There's your bang section. That nice, thick, black marker. That's your bang section. And what we're going to do with this bang section is we're going to take sections diagonal across. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to take sections diagonal across. 1, 2, 3. And this hair is going to be cut down, but I'm going to cut it into a V. I'm going to follow the cheekbone down to around about the top of the lip or the tip of the nose. That's my next step. So if we go back to our mannequin and we come above, you'll see there is your triangle right there. It's offset triangle. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to cut from short to long. So if we go to camera 5, yeah, from short to long. It's not going to end up being too long because I'm going to razor it out. And when you razor hair out, it gets thinner. When it gets thinner, it gets shorter. Also, when you razor hair out, you create space. So you create space for the hair to move, which is great. The pens are good, but they're a bit messy. But I'll be okay. Okay, so right now, working from short to long, keeping that length in the center, working from short to long. Just lift it away from the face so you're not close to the face. Next section, diagonal forward again. Comb this down. Not much to cut, but I'm just going to soften it. We call this technique tipping, using the very tip of the blade. That's what we're using, the tip of the blade right here to tip into the hair. Just work that all the way through. It's nice and soft. You see, it creates a bit more of a sweep because we're taking out some of the density and because we're keeping the length in the middle. Now let's come to the opposite side. Keep that section the same. Clip that out of the way. So now we're going to comb this way. Diagonal forward. Combing that hair straight down. Cut hair, not corners, just a little bit that right there needed to come in, so I just pulled it in. On this side, we're using more the back or the heel of the blade to melt that hair away. Comb that hair straight forward. Just coming down the hair shaft. Nice and soft. Melting that hair all the way through. Now I'm going to come to the side. I'm just going to tip into the hair right here. Just tipping into the hair to soften. Next section. Right here. And at this stage of the game, you're probably, you know what, we're 30 minutes, 38 minutes in. We're kind of getting close towards the to the end of the cut. Yeah, you're going to start to look for the personality and the inspiration. Yeah, so that's how this kind of starts to work now. You start to see the whole thing come together as you push the hair around. Tip of the blade, we call that tipping. We're just softening. It's trying to stay within the final 2 inches of the hair. I don't want to be up here. That will shatter it. So I just want to just soften out the ends, make the ends nice and soft. There we go. Now we'll push this to the side. Let's take that clip out. Let's have a look straight away at how our girl is looking. There she is. So you start to see all of that movement now in the shape. There's a lot of movement in the shape. So now you're looking for the magic. You're looking for the little bits and pieces. You're looking to see what you need to do in order to make it better. That's what you're looking for. A little bit of moisture, not a lot, just a little. You use water like it's product. So it's a little heavy at the front there. I think that's a little heavy at the front. Let's look at this side. I want this bang to dry out a little bit. Kind of liking that, but again, it's a bit heavy right here. So let's push this away. Let's push that all away. And let's see if we can lighten the load right here. This side looks a little thicker and a little fuller. So here we go. So I'm going to use the tip of my blade. I'm going to come from the front. And I want to slowly stop working with water soon. So you see all that density right there. That's going to come right out right now. Still need a little bit of moisture because, as I said to you earlier, you can't razor dry hair. So we'll come here. And I'm going to scoop that out. Look at that. You can't do this with a scissor. You just can't do this with a scissor. And now I'm going to just look through the hair and I'm just going to soften it out. You can cut the shape with a scissor, not a problem. But this is like a whole different flow when you're working with a razor. And you're really taking out a lot of the hair. And you feel, as I say, you feel the bite of the blade. So you really feel connected to the work. The best class to do is Razor Fundamentals if you've never worked with a razor. And then we do a second class called Razor Advanced. And also we have classes on the road. So my next class is on the road for razor cutting is in Chicago and Michigan. I'm going to Michigan, Grand Rapids, and then I'm going to be going to Chicago to teach a one-day razor class. They call them Razor Creatives. Let's have a look. Working through. Right now, it's kind of end game. We've got to be in the end game. We've got to start to see the magic of what we've got. So I'm just checking to test it. I'm going to look into my mirror. I can see as this hair starts to kick and flick, comb this hair around. Starting to come quite sexy now. I can see that. I'm going to see some weight in here. So again, this is your free form. Yep. Sometimes when you're sketching, you can't talk about what you're doing because you're just doing it. You don't think about sketching like one stroke at a time. It's just part of the magic. So right here, this is kind of like sketching, just taking out density, putting in softness, more lightweightness, letting that hair flip and kick. And we want to get to the hair. Now we're going to slowly start to get to the hair to see it start to dry, and then we'll finish it with products. One of the things that I really pride myself on as a stylist is working to time. You know, it's very, very important to work to time. Yeah, time's critical. So always keep an eye on that because you've got so much time to do your work and you've got to stay focused on that time. I'm starting to see the magic come together. Yeah, I'm starting to see the structure come together. And you can see, even though we kept it longer in the middle, there's your little piece in the middle, you'll see that it's not necessarily like a long bang, because it moves. So you see how that moves? Moves nicely. All right, I'm going to come through the top. I'm not going to spray the hair down with water anymore if I don't have to. I want to work pretty much from wet to dry. I will style the client for us too. I'll show you the products that I use. Working across the top of the back of the head, lifting the hair up, and coming inside. Just coming inside there. Give camera 3 a try, Ost. Yeah, it's nice. Great, so just lifting, we call this tipping into the hair, looking through it. And then again, always moving that hair around, shaking it. Give me 5. Great. So remember, we had the side parting. This side's looking great. Love this. This side's still looking a little heavy, so I've got to get in here and do a little bit more work on this side. Don't like the way this is falling. So I'm going to come through here. Now, I'm going to take some of this stuff out. So when we teach here, we teach a class called Learn Together. So just like you're watching on our Learn Together program, you're actually doing it with me. So you're not just watching, you're actually cutting as I go. And we go through the sections and we do it together. It's a 90-minute class. We teach classic cutting with a scissor. We have a great 6-week program. And we teach razor fundamentals. It's a 6-week program too. We also have a men's classic cutting program. So if you want to learn, you can learn from the comfort of your own home. Sometimes I find that to be even better because each lesson's 90 minutes, so you're much fresher. It's not 2 full days. Although the 2 full day classes that we do, they're excellent too. I think you should do a combination. Learn at home, hands-on, and then come to do your homework at the academy here in New York. There you go, pushing that around. Wanting to get this hair to dry, wanting to see the true personality of the hair as the hair starts to dry now. That's the goal. Tipping through. We've got the general shaping. Tipping through. And I will be finishing this a little bit with a scissor. Let's spin her to the front. Okay, she's starting to look really nice and playful now. You can see we can collapse it down. We can collapse it down. We can expand it out. That's the playfulness of this haircut. Shaking it out. Just close my razor for a second. Go to my other hand. Maybe a little bit in here. Looks a little bit heavy. So I'm going to come through this little back piece. I'm going to drop a little bit of moisture just right in there. Let's get another camera angle if we can. There you go, right there. Come through here. And I'm just going to piece into that, just piecing in. Looking to take out a little bit more, put a little bit more texture, softness. I like to call these my grabbers. So I put my hands in, see how that hair feels, the density, the thickness. You're not looking for big holes in the haircut. You're looking for fluid space. Your mannequin, when you take hair out, the mannequin moves a little bit better. You can see, if I pull the head up, you can see how nice that even sits in. Also, the razor's quite tactile, so you can pick up the razor. You can not even use your comb. You can just soften that out just a little. So you'll see as she starts to dry, we're starting to see everything that we got. I think it's time for me to go through it with a scissor. I'll do just a little bit of scissor work, and then we're going to do a little bit of styling. We've got 12 minutes left, and we're in good shape. So this is a nice way to focus on your razor cutting. Yeah, right at the end of your haircut, pick up your scissor, and I like to refer to this as sealing the cuticle. So I'm just lifting the hair straight up, checking, and just tightening up any loose edges. This is kind of a 2-minute exercise, just to kind of go through and polish your existing shape up. I like to refer to it as well as a safety check. Why? Because, you know, sometimes when you first start razor cutting, you make it a little bit, if you make it a little bit too bitty, your client might not like that. So I'd like to say this is sealing the cuticle right at the end of the haircut, because I'm going through and I'm just taking out. But look at, you see how nice and soft and consistent the hair is? It's got to be soft and consistent. It's not hack and slash. It's soft and consistent throughout the whole thing. So yeah, I'm glad I'm doing this because I think it needed it. The mannequin hair as well, it's already a little bit processed. That's why they're all the same color. They go through a process. So it already, you know, it feels great, but again, just helps. And not every hair texture you have to do this on. We mentioned curly hair. You can raise the curly hair, but you don't raise it. You don't split the bits out. And curly hair comes in all shapes and sizes. It doesn't just come in one dimension. So curly hair comes in many different shapes, many different sizes, and you assess it. That's why you don't have to cut all soft lines with your razor. I can cut super clean lines too. We teach you how to cut clean lines. We teach you how to cut soft lines. We teach you how to do it all. So the nice thing is when I go to my scissor, I don't need to wet it anymore. Yep, so I don't need to wet it anymore. So the nice thing is I can slowly start to see the personality of the cut come out. So if we spin around, you're starting to see the magic of the haircut come together. And I feel like it's looking pretty good. So I'm happy because I'm tired today. I've been working a lot. We'll be in Westchester tonight doing Happy Mondays. Got my crew going with me. It's going to be great. Happy Mondays is our Monday educational jams. Yep, we're always doing something here. Always trying to push everything forward.
Thank you for everything you do for all of us in the industry, Nick.
Oh, thanks.
And just to let you guys know, in the chat, if you didn't see it already, I did put his razors on there. I found where it was on your website. Thank you very much. And then also your classes are on here and your website. So check it out, guys. That 6-week class is going to be, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, we're in week 2 of our 6-week class, Classic Scissor Cutting. It's the way to teach your, we teach first lesson, lines and face frame. Second lesson, layers. Third lesson, square layers. Fourth lesson, graduation. Fifth lesson, tight graduation. Sixth lesson, short pixie. Yep, you just do all those lessons. You do the haircuts with me, and then your technique gets better and better. Trust me, everyone that's been on the class, we talk to you just like we do here, but we see you. You set yourself up so we can see your work. We want to see what your work looks like. And you send me your pictures, and I can kind of critique it and see how well you do, can point you in the right direction. I designed it really to become a great training program to help smaller salons or salons that want to really develop great education. I developed it for that as a support network. All right, let me pick up the dryer. Just going to take a little bit of moisture out of here. I'm going to get a little bit more smoothness. In order to do that, I'm going to get my little paddle brush. Just going to put a little bit more polish on the front. It isn't finished until it's finished. I always say that too. Stay right in the zone with your haircut until you're super happy with the end result. You can see how much movement we get into the shape. I don't want to put too much smoothness in. Just a little bit more polish is all I need. And then I'm going to pick my scissors up again in a second, and then we'll finish with a little bit of styling product. Nothing in the hair as of now. It's just as it is. You can see the side of the shape. See how it collapses in. You can see how you got the nice little bob pieces through here. Just loosen that up even more. Don't want to make it too big and too fluffy. Okay, that's done. So we've got about 6 more minutes left. I don't know if anybody's got any further questions for me. I hope you've enjoyed watching me create my little Bixie, which is a combination of a bob, short, little pixie. This would also look good if you put a shorter bang in there too. Yeah, could also look good if you put a shorter bang in here too. Doesn't have to be long, so you could just change the dynamic just by putting a shorter bang in. But I wanted to keep a little bit more length to the shape. Product-wise, I'm going to use a little bit of my my Bond Oil cream, which is a really nice fluid bond repairer, but it's a great styling product because it's got enough emollient and a lot of sheen in it, and it strengthens the hair, so it looks fabulous. And then maybe I might finish it with a little bit of Glint, which is our American Wave texture product, which is for shine and for definition. So again, products are really important to your success as a stylist. Yeah, I really believe that. So you got to really learn your products, and you got to show your clients how to use them. That's pretty much what the job of a hairdresser is. Just coming in on the inside, just a little bit of point cutting, just adding a little bit more texture into that. And now I'm going to take my scissors, place them down, and now it's time for me to just really put the product in. So this is what the Bond Cream Oil looks like. It's like a small little container. Going to put about 6 pumps in my hand. I'm going to rub it into my hands. So I've got a nice film on my hands. There it is. And now I'm going to work it into the hair. And use your fingers like a comb. Use your fingers like a comb. Yep, just slowly work it in. Once the product's off your finger, then you re-rub your hands together, and then you get that product back into your fingers, and you start to piece that hair out. Slowly start to work it through. You got a lot more density with a mannequin. You know, it's as dense on the top as it is through the back. Usually, there's less hair around the top, but I think we get the idea, and I think you got the inspiration, and I feel pretty good about how it came out. I'm not too precious about it. Yeah, so it's like I'm not trying to be too precious. I push it around. Yeah, see how it works. See which way kind of gives you the inspiration. How does it look? Let's go back this way now again. Just have another look and see how that starts to sit. I like the kickiness of it. Line her up to the camera. Yeah. See, because we created space, that hair kind of starts to kick around. So when you create space, you get more movement through the bangs. And just working. Still got that product in my hands, so I'm just working it in. You'll notice it just gives it a little bit more pieciness, yeah, and a little bit more polish. The blow dryer did that, but also you can see just so you get that like separation and pieciness. It looks a lot of fun.
Nick, everybody's saying thank you. What a great class. How beautiful. That kind of stuff. So thanks. There is a question, or I think a couple people, myself included. How often do you do your 6-week classes?
Oh, we start them every 6 weeks.
Okay.
So 6 weeks, and then we take 1 week off, and then it's 6 weeks again.
Okay, so when would the new one
The
be?
next
About
one
4 weeks from now?
will start in 5 weeks from now.
5 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, 5 weeks from now.
Okay. Is it okay if I share my screen while you're doing that? I'll show them where this is on the website. Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. So you guys, I have Nick's website up here. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah. Okay. Come up through here. You can see the products. You can see the pro education. So whenever you want to see his live events, and then this is where the pros tools were. This is where his razor is as well. And then just real briefly for salontraining.com, anytime that we have these classes from these amazing trainers and product companies, you can find them right here, all the 3 upcoming ones. So this one will come off today. Next month, we have a social media class. And then after that, we have Gino Stampora. And then we have all kinds of different ones coming up that you guys are going to be really excited about. Anytime that you want to find educators, you can come right up here to trainers, education, any of the hair shows that are going on. We have a lot of hair shows now on here. Personal or in-person classes recorded, and so on, and job listings. I know a lot of people are looking to hire right now, so feel free if you're a salon owner to come on and you can post your job.
Okay, guys, so that's the finished look. This was the sections. Just a quick recap. We started in the back. We did the panels. Then I tightened up the length. Then we went into the next panel where I cut angled, and I cut up to push length up. Then we went into the side, diagonal forward, bringing that hair down, bringing that little line in. If you have a look, you'll see there's that little line that came in right here. So we did that through here. Then we connected in the parting. We did exactly the same on the other side. And then with the bangs, this was our parting and this is our bangs. And you'll see she's got more length all the way in the center. And that length is kind of what keeps that flickiness and that movement. It was a lot of fun working for you today. Does anybody have any final questions? I think we're bang on time, eh?
Yeah. Thank you. Have fun tonight.
I will. I'm always going to have fun. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Appreciate you. Have a great day, and thanks for all your support, as always. Don't forget, arrojopro.com. If you're looking for anything to do with professional education and products, you know where to come. Thanks very much.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And we'll send you guys an email for anybody that registered. We'll send you the email that that you can get into Nick's website. Okay. All right. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.